You know, I've been pretty negative recently. So why don't we talk about something I love? I love anime. I love this completely zany animation from Japan. I love their giant mechas and mentally deranged girlfriends. Sometimes they're combined. I love their 40-minute long shouting before the actual fight scenes, and I love how far the insanity of this culture can take us. This is not one of them. The insane part, I mean. This show is a lot more melancholic and realistic than a ninja that has the spirit of a nine-tailed fox in him, or a really hyperactive, stretchy 19-year-old who wants to be king of the pirates. God, do I love animation. So why do I love this specifically? Why, out of the pantheon of high school shows and zealous fantasy spectacles, is this supremely seldom show number 4 of my favourite shows? Well, let's take a look at Cowboy Bebop. Now, because it's a TV show, I have to divide my criticisms into 3 categories. The story, the characters, and the animation/performances of the actors if it's live action. With that said, let's take a look at the story. It's 2071. Crime is rampant, and the way to combat this is with cowboys, the bounty hunters of this universe. We follow a particular group of the ship Bebop, manned by Jet and his partner Spike. Along the series, their group adds 3 more people. They add Ein, Faye, and Edward. Throughout the show, they try their best to make their way with the bounties without being on the verge of bankruptcy. Now, there are 2 kinds of episodes. The character ones, focusing on their past and how it shaped them into the person they are today, and the standalone ones. Starting off with the standalone episodes, they are brilliant. The highlight of them is the interaction with the situation and with each other. I think my favourite standalone is episode 20, Perlefaux. I make no apologies. Just for how insane the main antagonist is for that episode. A near indestructible killing machine that constantly torments Spike. You know, besides the other near indestructible killing machine that constantly torments Spike. I'll get to him later. The other type of episode is the aforementioned character episodes, and they are the best part of the show, for the most part. The character episodes often deal with something from their past, going to very emotional territories, and exploring what kind of things shape them into who they are now. With Jet, it's his wife leaving him and losing his arms. For Faye, it's the loss of her memories after being frozen to be healed in the future. And then you have Edward. Now, not to diss Edward, I think she's a great character. I love characters that are in their own little world and have such confidence in what they do. It's just that her episodes are just good. I mean, compare it to the other characters that get very psychological at times. Her episodes just seem average. And this is the sort of thing that you can expect from really great shows. You can expect great episodes and just good episodes. Her episodes are just the latter. And then we have Spike, with probably the most complex backstory out of all of them. He was a man that was part of the crime syndicate, partnered with Vicious, forming a friendship/rivalry. It's here Spike also meets Julia, and to put it simply, they fall in love. The problem is that Julia was already in a relationship with Vicious. This prompts him to give Julia an ultimatum. Kill Spike or be killed with him. Spike fakes his death so he and Julia can escape to live their lives free from Vicious and the Syndicate, but she never made it. And so he turned to a life of bounty hunting. It's probably my favourite backstory, because of the way it's presented. It doesn't just give it to you, it's fragmented. You're given an outline, but never given a detail, never given the details. It's a puzzle piece that you have to figure out. And I fucking love it. Even if I got some of that wrong, you can decipher it yourself. That's what's ingenious. It's interpretation that matters here. There's no right or wrong answers. Probably you can fight me on that, but I don't care. It's the way I view it. It can be more heartbreaking or less heartbreaking. I don't care. All in all, these episodes are great. Now, I did talk briefly about the characters, but let's go into a little bit more depth, shall we? We have Spike Spiegel, a typically slothful character but works hard when it matters, partnered with Jet Black, mature, wise and austere all the time. We are then introduced to Faye Valentine, an opportunist who's arrogant, lazy, with a big bounty on her head. Finally, we have Edward, a weird, zany, optimistic girl in her own world with a knack for hacking. Oh, and we also have a corgi named Dine with human intelligence. Each character is both similar yet different to each other, which allows you to understand why these people with seemingly nothing in common would join together. Their relationship with each other is something I just love. It's so real. You can feel the chemistry between them. It's more than just partners or friends, it's family. Listen, I know that sounds completely cheesy, and it is, but it's true. Because the writing makes you feel the attachment that they've grown for one another through such minimal dialogue. A good rule for film, TV, etc. is show, don't tell, and they do this magnificently. Because good characters can just entertain you. Great characters can make you feel like they're alive. These are brilliantly written characters. All motivations don't feel out of place, which it helps with their backstory. They are selfish, but not enough to feel dickish. They are completely justified reasons, and that's human. And I think that's what I look for when I'm watching a show or a movie or reading a comic book or whatever. Humanity. And I don't think it's just the relatable factor, while that is an important variable. I am looking at someone's life, their day. I'm looking at someone's day-to-day struggles. Because it just doesn't get better than that. And I know it's weird to say that for a sci-fi show that's based in the near distant future, but this, for all that, this show, it never strayed away from realism. The world and the character that they built, they never seemed fantastical. Only because there's history behind it. If you want to make a real, tangible world, make it realistic. Add lore, add history, add whatever. Just make it feel alive. And you know one other way to create a realistic setting and atmosphere? Animation! Let's dig into that, shall we? I mean, there really isn't anything else to say other than it's magnificent. I mean, look at this clip. There's just so much fluidity, so much care and effort and detail. You can feel the build-up and motion in the movements. It's just so crisp. So many great animated shows and movies are like this, and this is why they'll always be remembered. Cowboy Bebop, Akira, Samurai Champloo. This is high animation. This is high art! We apologize for the unneeded pretentiousness. We will now try and finish the review, as we feel now we have been more rambling than reviewing. Thank you for your time. Now, truth be told, I haven't watched this show in a very long time. I've been pretty busy with schoolwork and other projects I wanted to do. So, I apologize if this review wasn't as in-depth as you wanted it to be, and that's more of an apology for myself. The real question is, though, why is it so high on my top 10 favourite shows list? Why does it still hold up? Because this show is ultimately about so many people lost in this fucked up world. Our main characters move forward from their own or others' pain because they have to. Or else, that pain will stick with you. And it does. These stories, these moments, these feelings, they stick with you for God knows how long. That's something unique a show can do. It's not just clips that you remember from the show. It's the emotion that was carried behind it. The weight of this feeling that will never let go. My name is the Majestic Junk. This is why I love Cowboy Bebop, and that was why I am going to carry that weight.